Hey, what's up, people? I wanted to get this video in while it's still wintertime. It can be useful maybe if you have a fireplace like this is an insert. I have a longer one in the basement, like where it's actually a stove that sits out. You can feed it some large wood. I came up with an easy way to start your fire. You know the kind of hassle that could be. You've got kindling wood and you're trying to get that lit with newspaper, and the newspaper blows out. And then you're trying to feed more paper and things like that. And they sell fire starters, sticks, and things like that, but it costs you money. I figured out a way to make a fire starting system with your old burnt fireplace ash. So let's take a closer look. Okay, listen, first some safety rules. You must use old ash that's dead, not lit, no heat to it, it's been out. And I mean when I say it's out, it's not just out on the surface. It's out down in there. So, in other words, I wouldn't take it right out of your fireplace. You have it in one of these storage containers that you know it's been dead for days. And you could dig through with your hand and your hand wouldn't burn. Okay, that's number one. You cannot use ash that's still hot. Okay, so if you store your ash in something like this, you could not use it for like a week. It should be pretty safe at that point. I cannot guarantee that. Do your own safety checks, all right? So that ash has to be absolutely extinguished. No heat, nothing. Because I've had fireplace ash in, it acts like insulation. Underneath the ash, especially the taller it gets, it acts like insulation for the coals to just smolder and stay hot. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so make sure absolutely it's out. Number two, I'm going to use diesel fuel here. And the only thing I'm going to recommend is diesel fuel, home heating oil, and kerosene. And that's it. Never, ever use gasoline. Ever. Gasoline has a very high flash point and it can explode in your house, burn it down, blow out, burn you up. Do not use anything else, and I'm telling you, do this at your own risk. I'm not responsible if you try to do this. I just found it's something really well working for me. Okay, so there's the safety things. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this stainless steel bowl. Okay, so I'm going to take, like I said, this is my ash that's already been out. I'm going to take a shovel full of ash here. And I'm going to put it in there. Now here's another thing. After you make this, I recommend storing this outside, not inside. If you have another bucket like this, you can put a lid on, just in case it ignited, it can't go anywhere. That's another good safety issue. In a steel bucket. Now, I'm making this in here because it's easy to see this way. And I'm filling it about 1 inch from the top. So that way, when I put the fuel in, it's going to settle anyway. But like I said, put it outside, away from anything that can catch fire, just to be safe, and put the lid on it, like drop it in something like this, put the lid on it, if it was to ignite, big deal. Okay, so we're going to go outside now, we're going to add the diesel fuel. Okay. Like I said, it's winter time out here, and I'm away from my house and anything, and there's not going to be anything that happens, but I'm just trying to do this for the safety's sake. And here's another thing. I got diesel fuel in here. Now, although it's not as volatile as gasoline, it will vaporize if it's put into a hot fireplace, like one that, like I told you, had hot coals, hot embers mixed in with the ash. And you go and use this stuff and you're putting it in there, and now you go try to find a pack of matches. While it's in there, it can make fumes. It starts to make a mist inside there, and then you go to light and it actually could puff out all that air mixed with diesel. It's just like a home heating oil injector in a fireplace that isn't working right, and then it goes to try to light again, and you hear whoosh inside the furnace. That's a flash that happened. You don't want to put this in a fireplace that's still got hot coals in it. Do not do it. Make sure it's completely out, just for safety's sake. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding diesel fuel, and you can see I'm adding quite a bit. It's going to soak in. This stuff wicks it up like a sponge, and I got a old dedicated tablespoon made out of stainless steel, and I'll be using that as my shovel for this mixture. So you can see it's dry down in there. It needs more. I don't like to make it so you have puddles. I want to mix it up until I get all the light colored ash mixed in. And it's getting there. A little more. I think it's better to be too dry than to be too wet. And I think one of the best things you could probably do to store this is if you get an unused paint can from the home store that didn't have any other material in it, because you don't know about, when you mix certain chemicals and materials together, what the possibilities of, you know, that catalytically reacts or anything like that. So it's best to just get a fresh container. I actually have one that this is going in, and then it goes inside the steel container. All right, so we're looking pretty good here. So I'm about ready to take it inside and use it. Yeah, this is good. All right, and this won't, by putting in a paint can with a lid, it won't evaporate. Because even though this stuff, oils will evaporate over time. This will keep it from evaporating, and this is going to last me a long time. Let's go give it a try. Okay, so we're going to use our ash diesel mix, and this fireplace hasn't been used in several days, and like I said, it is completely cold. I'm going to go over it one more time. Do not do this in a hot or smoldering coal fireplace. Make sure it's just cold, and that's it. Okay, safety lesson over. So I'm using some kindling wood, and this is from just larger chunks of firewood. I made a homemade kindling wood splitter. I have a video for that. I'll link that down below if anyone wants to make it. It's out of an old axe head, you know. So instead of buying one, it works very well. So I just split this wood, and then after this wood gets going, I'm actually going to feed it in some wood that's been out in the rain, just so you'll see how effective this is. So I'm going to take about 3 nice tablespoons, heaping tablespoons of it, and I'm just going to drop it all in the same clump. Okay, and you see I've got plenty left for more fires. Get that out of the way. Actually, I'm going to get it out of the house. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm back, and that, like I said, I brought it outside to practice what I preach, and I put it into a galvanized, one of those mini galvanized garbage cans that has nothing else in it. So we got a friend here. Move along there, kid. Move along. Move along. Move along. Where's your ball? Where's your ball? Okay. So we're going to get a wooden match, and I'm just going to go in there and lay it on it, and you see it lighting up right away. Okay. Let's get the rest of the matches at a safe distance. Now, of course, I'm not using any paper in here. Okay, that was my phone. So I'm not using any paper in this, but in the fireplace and in the wood burning stove I have in the basement, it sits out and it has a chimney and it necks out. I have to light like a ball of paper back there and throw it all the way in the back to get a draft going up the chimney. Otherwise it'll come out at me this way, and by the time it gets hot enough to build a draft, and naturally it'll be, look, you know, the whole room will be smoky. So you might have to do that. Now I'm just going to start feeding in wood, and the smaller the better to get started. That's why I've made different sized pieces, and I'm going to cross them up like this, and then I'll start feeding in the real wood. So I hate fast forward videos, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back in stages and show you that this fire got started just with this product. Okay? Let's be back. Okay, so here we go. This is inside of 20 minutes. And, you know, it got to the point where I want to close the door and start feeding in larger wood. And then eventually it's going to be the full-size logs. So this is all done with just those 3 scoops of fireplace ash mixed with diesel fuel. So it's I'm incredibly happy with it. And instead of messing around with paper and cardboard and everything you always use to start a fire. So, and the other thing is, I now have the blower on, and it's not really hard to hear me over the blower, because the blower is actually in the basement. And I have a video that how I did that. There's this one down here that I'm not using right now, and that one's louder. So, you know, it's because it's right here. And it's up with your television set, you know, so you can hear over it and things like that. So I made a video where the blower is in the basement and it's coming up, the air is coming up through a pipe through the ash dump. So I'll link that video. And also, the wood stove I have in my basement, I installed that myself by taking out a basement window instead of, you know, boring a hole in the cement block and things like that. I wanted a way that's reversible, in case I ever want to get rid of the house and, you know, somebody else doesn't want it, or it's a selling negative or something like that. So I'll link that video down there. But like I said, I'm really happy with this, and maybe you will appreciate this video. If you do, like, hit the thumbs up button, and thank you for watching.